All before the age of 22. $1 million cash collected. Top 1% earner in his age bracket. Public speaker, podcaster, real estate investor. I'm so excited to dive into this, Colby. You've sat in rooms with millionaires, billionaires. Do you have advice out there for the kid that's sitting there right now and like, man, I really want to reach out to this person, but I don't want to make this just transactional?
You know what people really fucking want? They want you to be unapologetically you.
When I look at statistics, 42% of people in Gen Z are diagnosed with a mental health issue. Like, you experiencing therapy, explain that process and like how therapy has helped you through all this struggle.
You know, I've had a fear of insufficiency. If you've ever heard of that, it's where essentially you walk around every single day almost with like a camera on your back where you just constantly feel like you are being watched, observed, and everyone is just thinking that, hey, you can't do what I need you to do. You are incapable of doing what I need you to do. Me and her worked through that in our first session.
Colby Harris, let me give you a brief introduction. All before the age of 22, $1 million cash collected, top 1% earner in his age bracket, public speaker, podcaster, real estate investor, and at the end of the day, this kid's just a freaking go-getter. Every single thing we're going to talk about on this podcast is going to be used for inspiration for who's ever listening to this right now. I'm so excited to dive into this, Colby. Thank you so much for coming on Gross Potential.
Absolutely, Anthony. I appreciate you taking the time, the mission you have here, being a part of it, and excited to share a little bit about, my belief of everyone having that gross potential, but the reality of how you put it to work and can get the same results, if not better than even I've got up to this point.
Absolutely. And so on this podcast, I start everybody off with the same first question. And that question is this: what TV, book, or movie character do you think best resembles you, and then why?
Jeez. That's a lofty one. Man, it's funny. I play so many people in my life, right? If you said one side, you could say is somewhere along the lines of like a Jordan Belfort and Wolf of Wall Street. You could say I'm somewhere along the lines of a Spicoli. If you've ever seen Fast Times at Ridgemont High, an old classic movie. I used to get called Spicoli in high school because I was a surfer. It was just a running joke. Man, that's a good opening question. If I had to deem myself, though, as any character, I think it would come down to being, what's one of my favorites? Probably, this one's a little out of the ordinary, but Leonardo DiCaprio in Inception, because
God, favorite movie of all freaking time. Explain why.
I think it's the obsession, right? Like there's a lot that happens in that movie, a lot that I wouldn't want to associate myself with, right? Like the limits that him and his wife push and where it ends up. But I do think that in business, especially, like think about the whole storyline and where his life went and the traumas he went through, and still going back to that place where, like, ultimately he ends up back with his kids at the end of the movie. They have the successful mission, they fulfill it, and he's released back into the U.S., right? And so despite the turmoil and the challenges he had in that process, next thing you know, he gets everything back that he ever could have wanted. Of course, it's a terrible story with what happened with his wife, but that level of obsession and commitment to what meant most to him, which happened to be his kids, I think that I resemble a lot with that one. And that's a top 5 movie for me of all time. So I guess that's one that just comes to mind off rip, and the symbolism of just his obsession is definitely something I would associate myself with.
There's a couple movies that are like complete mind fucks, like Inception, complete mind fuck. I watched it on a plane to somewhere and I was like, what is going on right now? And then you get to the end and then boom, another just mind fuck movie. I don't know if you've ever saw this, but it's Fight Club. That I had to have my friend explain it. I was like, I have no clue what's going on. But back to the whole point, like obsession, I get it. I think everybody can see that you're obsessed. But I think there's another thing that you mentioned in there, and you said like Leonardo's trauma and like the challenges that he faced, but then he was still so obsessed to get whatever he wanted to get at that end result. And so like if I'm breaking apart your life, before all those stats that I read off at the start. Before age of 22, you're a top percent earner for your age group, which is insane. Did you have that trauma or those challenges or those dark days before you saw light at the end of the tunnel?
Yeah, there were absolutely plenty of hard times. I mean, even outside of business hard times are one thing, but personal hard times do exist. For me, a lot of family issues, problems with my parents, divorced parents, a lot of back and forth, and made a big move that happened to be abrupt when I was about 10 years old in the fifth grade that really, shook my world for a long time. And, I'm happy to say it's June, which I believe June or it was May, that's Men's Mental Health Month. And like I openly tell people, like I've been to therapy, I've had a therapist, I've sat through those sessions before, and that was all overcoming the personal side, right? Things that are bigger that money couldn't patch or fix or give you. And I've had to overcome that. And I think that anyone else that outside of the business side and losing money on a deal or losing a client or putting a bunch of time into something and then watching it kind of all crumble down. Those suck. Don't get me wrong, but the next deal will fix it. A lot of these interpersonal things that happen to you, that's where you're really going to develop the mindset that you're looking for, the work ethic you're looking for to be able to invest time, energy, effort into uh, getting yourself right again. And so, yeah, a big one for me was that family side, and something that I've constantly worked towards. And now I've got a great relationship with my mother and great family around me. But challenges outside of business are ultimately going to be what really test you as an individual, not just as an entrepreneur.
Yeah, how do you think, and you don't have to get in it if you're not comfortable, but like when I start looking at childhood and I look at major events that shape you, and I've had friends with divorced parents, and they talk about how much it's impacted them, and they say what they learned from it, and et cetera, et cetera. But like when you look back at your past and those issues, how has that like formed you into the person you are today?
Yeah, well, the best decision isn't always going to be the easiest one.
Hmm.
Like my mom had to make some really hard decisions. I'm one of four kids. I have two older brothers, a little sister. My oldest brother's, 27. Second oldest, 24. I have a little sister that's 19. And so we're all pretty tight in age. Like we were kids when a lot of this happened. And my mom had to make, as head of household, some executive decisions, so to say, that were extremely, extremely hard for her, extremely hard on us. I mean, me and my mom had a very separated relationship for a very long time. And looking back on it, it's crazy that we can all sit down and, over a glass of wine or while we're on vacation, I can sit with my family and we talk about how incredible it is, how beautiful it is that all those things that we went through and decisions that came from my mom ultimately created this life that I literally wouldn't change a single thing about, that I am just so grateful for, that I'm so blessed to live. And ultimately, a lot of it came from a butterfly effect of a couple decisions my mom made through the times I was 10, 11, 12 years old that really, really made my life challenging at the time, but led to where I am today. And so something when I talk about, what's going on, bad things is just discussing the fact that, look, if where you are today, you never really could have imagined, the truth is you can't really put pen to paper on what your life is going to look like in the future. The reality is there's probably something waiting for you that's better than you ever could have imagined.
Yeah.
So through that, I learned that tough decisions might bring tough times, but ultimately it's leading you to where you're ultimately meant to be. And so I think an optimism and positive attitude is ultimately what I left with, despite the short term pessimistic negative viewpoint on life that it left me with as a youngster.
Do you have an example that you want to share, or if not, totally cool?
Yeah, I mean, just in general, like if you talk to a lot of people are shocked to know that, like I said, I went to therapy. People I know today, people I work with, people that have known me really for the last 2, 3 years, know me as this energetic, positive, well dressed, kind of got the swagger going, so to say, individual. That's how people know me. But if you talk to the people in my family, my aunts, my uncles, that kind of watched this trajectory from when I was younger, I had serious like anger management issues as a kid. I had these crazy screaming arguments with my mother, all these just, over the top, not minute, I'm talking serious issues. And that's what landed me in, seeing a professional and going through therapy and,
Mm.
you know, over time, overcoming that. And then secondarily, just, buying into it. Like I knew at one point my uncle sat me down and it was almost like an intervention. And I'm so grateful that he did. My uncle's one of my best friends. I call him every time something big or important happens in my life. I mean, he sat me down, pretty much like drilled me of just like, Colby, you're fucked up. Like you need to do something. You need help. Everyone around you is trying to help you. You're just shutting them out. And over time, that probably progressed well through high school. It wasn't until I got out of high school really that I think I got a hold on everything. And then from there, I really started to work on my relationship with God. And that's been a huge savior for me. And now people see me today as this positive, again, all those kind of characteristics I listed. But the truth is for me is like that wasn't who I was. And I wish more people could understand the whole story, right? I know we only have an hour here today, but yeah, that was me. And so to be here today, again, it's like all of that has now given me the patience, the love, the understanding of other people because I came from that place of not offering that to people.
Let's talk about the topic of mental health and therapy, especially men's mental health, because when I look at statistics, 42% of people in Gen Z are diagnosed with a mental health issue. We are the big, like there has never been another generation with more health issues than Gen Z. And I know especially now with times changing, there's been more and more people coming out, and there was a stigma around men going to therapy, and it's like, well, then you're soft. Why are you doing this? Yada yada yada. But like you experiencing therapy and you coming out, like explain that process and like how therapy has helped you through all this struggle.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting. Just a little backstory. I had a great therapist. Dr. Boyle was a savior to me at a point in my life, right? She even helped me with money at one point to like go on a vacation to one of my friends' graduations, my best friend's graduation. She wrote me a check for $300 and was like, "You can't miss this. I want you to go do this." So the relationship was there of a safe space. She had done family sessions with us. She did many one-on-one sessions. First time my mom caught me smoking weed, she made me go to Dr. Boyle, and Dr. Boyle is like walking me through, like what's going on and why you're smoking weed, whatever. And so she was super personal to me. And God rest her soul, Dr. Boyle passed a few years ago, and there's been so many times where I wish I had her. And I'll tell you, I'm not someone who necessarily goes anymore. I did, and I think it was extremely valuable. I understand the struggle, the stigma around doing it because number one, you got to find the right person. Like Dr. Boyle fell in my lap as someone who knew my grandparents, who were very important in my life. And so I think that the value I took away from it is here's what I see these days is therapy right for everyone? Maybe. The reality is what you're coming from. Because if you go to therapy, here's what you're looking at 90% of what happened, what your problems are, talking through them, and 10% of where you go from here. Now, I err these days, which I think that a lot of Gen Z, a lot of individuals in general can err on this side, which is more mental performance coaching, mindset, resilience, just mentally, emotional resilience, building that callus actively rather than talking about it. You're spending 10% of your time on what actually happened and overcoming it, and 90% thinking about how you move forward. And so I don't think that it is right for everybody. I don't think that it's necessarily the first go to. A lot of people talk about mental health and how you get help. You're playing on this side when the reality is a lot of young people need to be playing on this side. Less time on your cell phone, less eating of the garbage mentally and physically, food, who you're spending time around, who are your mentors, do you have a relationship with God? I'm very religious, and all the people I know that are happiest and healthy and have good relationships, they have some level of spirituality. It doesn't matter what you believe in, but you need to believe in something. So if more people played on this side of building a life for themselves that they truly want, um, that is your therapy. That needs to be the therapy that our age group is working through. Of course, there's a space, again, don't get me wrong, that you need to see a professional, that you need to work on this side. But even if you're doing 1 hour a month or 1 hour a week on this side, you need to be doing multiple hours every day on this side: the gym, your meditation, your praying, your reading, your time with others around you, with like minded people. That is, to me, the therapy I started doing after, we lost Dr. Boyle, and ultimately the therapy that made me who I am today, and created someone that I'm much more proud to be than I was at the time.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because uh, I want to say it was probably a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago. I had like a mastermind session with a couple of my friends. So what we do is every month we get on this call, we list out all our goals and we share our goals. And then we get feedback and advice from each other. But for one of the sessions, what we did is every single person had to outline a 10-word purpose for their life. And I was thinking about this for probably weeks. I'm like, a 10-word purpose. How can I ever put a 10-word purpose together for my entire life? But then it clicked. And I thought about it at the time because I was studying abroad. And when I studied abroad, all I did every single night, I went out and partied. I was eating like shit. I stopped working. I stopped working out. I did nothing like productive towards anything. And I realized that I was like miserable at the time. Mentally, was I the best? No. Was I depressed? Absolutely not. Would I ever say I had mental health issues? No. But I just wasn't in a good state. And I realized like my 10-word purpose in life, it needs to be control my mind. That's my
Mm.
10-word purpose. Because if I can control my mind, I'll be the best husband I will be someday. I'll be the best business partner. I'll be the best content creator. I'll be the best friend, whatever it is. Because if I can control this right here, that's what it's about. And so you're saying it kind of leans more on the mindset side of things. And from our previous conversation, you have a mental performance coach, right? Or a mindset coach. And so I'm trying to figure out, I've never done anything like therapy. I don't have a mindset coach. I get my mindset from David Goggins. I'll put in David Goggins or Patrick Bet David, and that'll fire me up. But like someone right now who's sitting there listening to this, they're like, yeah, shit, I'm in a rut. I should probably go to the gym. I should probably do this and that, but I just can't get the motivation. What if I should go and get a mindset coach? When you're working with a mindset coach, what are like the actionable steps? And what does that mindset coach work on with you to just control your mind?
To If you're going to work with someone who's really meant to help you with your mindset, the biggest thing is being open to it, right? Like, thankfully, I've already done so many years of this framework and working on myself that by the time that I got with somebody, it was like hey, I need to know things that can take me to the next level, not just working on it by myself. I need someone who's an expert in this space. And there's a couple pieces similar to therapy. There is some releasing of limited beliefs, of past traumas, but there is also creating new beliefs, right? That is where the shift is I'm not just airing this out for $500 an hour to a therapist, and then they're like, okay, well, I'll see you next week where we'll talk about more of your problems. We release it, and then what we're doing is building new beliefs. So just for reference, and I'm happy to share it. One of the biggest things I ever came right before having one of the biggest deals in my life is, I've had a fear of insufficiency. If you've ever heard of that, it's something that the Navy SEAL that I work with talks a lot about. It's very common in people. Fear of insufficiency, where essentially you walk around every single day almost with like a camera on your back, where you just constantly feel like you are being watched, observed, and everyone is just thinking that, hey, you can't do what I need you to do. You are incapable of doing what I need you to do. Me and her worked through that in our first session. We talked it through. I told her about things that happened in my life. She connected the dots, understood it. And from there, we reinstated a new statement. And my new statement was that I'm capable of what I need me to do. Like, I know what my goals are, what I am chasing, what I'm trying to do for myself, my family, my purpose, and connecting the dots that I'm capable of what I need me to do, regardless of what you want. I'll walk my life happy, living through my principles, my values, bringing that to the table. If it's in alignment with you, then I know I can help. But if I can't do what you need me to do, likelihood is that it's not what I know I need to do. So it was shifting my limiting belief into my new self-belief of you're not capable, Colby, of what I need you to do, to I am capable of what I need me to do, and living in that. So that's a big piece. And the other one was just talking about how, um, again, what I just mentioned about you just can't even fathom what is out there in the world for you when you show up as your truest best self. And when life kicks you down or makes a U-turn or pushes you in a different direction than you thought, odds are that it's pushing you towards something way better than where you thought you were going. So I think if you're going to work with someone, you first have to be willing to accept that it's time to go to another level. You need to have a base level of what you've already been doing. And then you have to be open to it. Like, people were asking me questions like, who is this lady? Is she an expert? How many clients does she have? Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I trust her. I don't know. I don't know anything about her. I met her for one phone call and then gave her $250 for our first session. And it was incredible. Now I'm about to spend $1,800 with her at the end of this month for a full day session. Because that $200, what it's created for me in business, my relationships, my day to day, my overall happiness, like, to know that I'm walking a path that's best fit for me, it's priceless. And so if
Yeah.
you're out there wondering, where's the next level for me, just know that I'm all for furthering your education, but odds are it's not in a book, in a TV show, in a YouTube video, in an Instagram reel. It's probably up here and getting yourself right. That'll take you to levels that you thought weren't possible 6 months prior.
And so I know you've seen some of that success now. Like, you control the mindset. You've had plenty of success in the business realm, but I don't think it was always that way. Like, it's never that way for everyone. And I'm pretty sure from like just doing some research, like there were days where you couldn't feed yourself. Like, you lost like 30 pounds. You couldn't pay for gas. There's stuff like that. Was there a moment, a specific moment in time that you remember that just went boom and just changed the course of your life and gave you all this momentum to start heading in the right direction?
Yeah, it's going to that place, right? So there was a season, right? And some people, because I come from, my uncles, and I have family around me. I have a big family, right? And some people are like, Colby, they've heard me on other podcasts talking about this or something. They're like, you could have called me. You're lying. And I said, yeah, but that would make me different from every other person that doesn't have, the benefit of great family and other people looking after them, right? And so I went to that place that nobody wants to really go, which is like, I put myself in a hole and I was gonna find a way to get out of it. Now, you want to know the reality of it is, like, you're at peace when you go to the darkest place you could have ever imagined for yourself, and realize that if you're in the US especially,
Yeah.
it's not that bad. There's no stakes. There's nothing else to really lose, right? And so I'll never forget the day before I started at Eddie Wilson's office, Eddie Wilson, Andrew Cordell, the company that I still work with now. I'll never forget. I had been through the last 5 months of, losing 30 pounds, putting gas in my car with quarters, just, in thousands and thousands of dollars of credit card debt with no idea what I was going to do, just doing manual labor to survive. And I remember it was the night before I started this new role. They had no idea if there was any money to be made. Nobody knew what was going to happen. I pretty much took it on a limb with just thinking, it can't be any worse than what I'm already doing. And I went to my grandparents, where they were buried, back home on Amelia Island, where I'm from. And I remember just going and, like, actually being knocked to my knees and just, like, begging, just absolutely begging, to my grandparents, my grandfather, my, to God, and just saying, like, please, like, let this be the one. Like, you have beaten me down. I've stayed positive. I've done everything I can to stay in the game, so to say. I am in alignment here with why I'm doing this and what I'm pursuing. Like, please let this be the opportunity that I've been waiting for. And it it was never the same after that. I went in for my first day, and funny story, I went in and I didn't make any money, which wasn't surprising. It was 100% commission. I made $0, and I kind of left the office just thinking, day one, bro, I've gotten kicked in the teeth enough. It doesn't matter. Forget about it, right? And day two, by 7 o'clock when I left the office, I made $1,000 in a day.
Wow.
And then it was game over from there. I knew I was in the right place, and the opportunity had now presented itself. And I remember just being so emotional, calling my mom on the way home. Mom, what's up, sweetie? Mom, I just made $1,000 in a day. What? Are you serious? That's so crazy. Uh,
Damn.
and then it's never been the same since, right? I learned sales, I cultivated the skill, I was in an opportunity, and that's all it is at the end of the day if you don't make anything of it. And so that was the moment that changed everything. But it started with that, just being knocked to my knees to just beg for a sense of normalcy again,
Yeah.
for a sense of place, a sense of opportunity, a sense of this is the right path for me. And I was given it. Um,
How do you go from doing manual labor, paying in quarters for gas, to being able to work for Eddie and an Andrew Cordell? Like, how does that happen?
Skill set. So here's the thing is I built it from 17 to 21 in another business. I built this nice skill set. I had kind of a sexy life. I was like meeting Bugatti owners and private jet owners, and I was doing the podcast. I was public speaking. I had built a following on social media. I was generating us thousands of views. I had a six-figure business. I was doing great, right? And when that changed, I didn't roll over to die. I left that opportunity, and instead of spending 5 months sitting at my house, I launched another business. And it happened to be manual labor. I didn't work for anybody when I did that. I was finding my own clients, jobs, opportunities, anything under the sun. That's why I just told people, look, if you need it done, you let me know. I'll take care of it, whatever it could be. I helped the guy do a garage sale. I brokered it for him, promoted it, listed all the items, invited all the people, and I got a 30% return on it. Whatever I sold, he gave me 30% off the top. So I found it. It's the entrepreneur. It's what my granddad always called as a spirit, right? That's it. So I say I built the skill set, but I think the truth is I have the spirit of an entrepreneur that said that I'm willing to do whatever it takes, whenever, for whoever, for the pursuit of what I'm truly looking for. And so by the time that I walk into Andrew and Eddie's office, and the HR director sat there and looked at me trying to become Eddie Wilson's personal assistant, not even a sales guy. And he thought, hey, we want to start this team. I have no idea what it looks like. You're going to be 100% commission, but we think there might be some money out there. There was no risk on his side. I don't think anyone expected it to become what it has now, especially at the speed that it did. And so, how do you go from doing what I was doing to this opportunity? It's constantly evolving, regardless of what's being thrown at you. Like, I totally could have rolled over, but instead of stopping everything I was doing, stopping the expansion of the skill set, stopping, letting that entrepreneurial spirit speak, I kept carrying it and carrying it and carrying it. And then next thing you know, I'm placed into opportunity of a lifetime to
And
maximize on it.
what is it exactly? So you get the job, and you said it's all commission based. So like obviously it's a sales gig, and we're about to break apart sales a little bit. But like, what is it exactly that you're selling?
So Eddie Wilson and Andrew Cordell have a private equity firm. It's called Collective Influence. So we right now have about 23 assets inside of the firm. And so all the companies are really focused on entrepreneurs. And so there's some that are companies that they would never sell, and there's some that they're building that, might have an exit one day. But we have a few different sides. So we do have like a mastermind side, an informational product side. But then we also have service-based businesses. So tax advisory service, business operating system. We also sell different business structures. We help people opening their tax-free accounts. So I sell right now for about 5 assets on any given day inside of the office.
Okay. Okay. So you're selling assets, and like on the topic of sales, because I want to break into this a little bit. So I assume you do a lot of cold calling, right?
Yeah, I would call it outbound. Some they're not totally cold, but it's all outbound to get deals.
So do you have previous relationships with these people, or maybe they don't know you, but they know of the company?
That's right. They've come through our funnel in some way, whether it's through an event, through a webinar, through social media.
Yeah.
They know who we are, but I do have to do all the outbound. So it can be cold. They could be like, "Oh, who?" And usually it comes back, but sometimes maybe not.
All right. So let's say I'm maybe I got in your funnel. Maybe I'm just a brand new person, and you're calling me right away because I had a sales gig, and I'm going into sales, but I had a sales job my sophomore year, and so I was a recruiter, and so I had to do. I mean, there was inbound, there was outbound, there was sourcing where I just call people straight up, and I would like observe the other recruiters in the office and see how they open up the call, and every single time it was like, "Hey, this is Anthony with ESC. I got your resume. Are you open to work?" Every single time it was that little script, and it's just like there's no nuance. Like it feels like a sales call, but like if we're really trying to break this apart, and you call someone and you get on the phone, how do you go about opening those calls to try to lower the sales defense barriers and get people to trust you?
First thing is just understanding people. I mean, through 10,000 sales calls and 10,000 plus sales calls. I mean, I know people, right? I've always been in the people business, so I can tell. So let's just say I call you,
Yeah.
and I'm from the South. If you can't tell, I have a bit of a twang. Some people notice it, but let's just say I call you, and you're Susie. So I'm calling Susie. When Susie picks up, if Susie says, "Hello, this is Susie," I'm gonna be much more Susie, Colby here from the Inspire Tour. How are you doing today? Oh, Colby, I'm just so well. I'm so well. How are you? Oh, Susie, blessed and highly favored. It's another day of sunny and 75 in Florida. What more could I ask for? I'm blessed. Uh,
Yeah.
Colby, I just love that. And then we go from there, right? Because in the first 2 seconds, I can tell what type of person Susie is.
Right.
Let's say, though, on the opposite end, if you're someone that's going to be maybe, so to say, more of a professional, someone who gets a lot of sales calls, if you've got the phone and I can just hear you ruffling around doing stuff, and you immediately say, "Hello, hello," like you're all automatically agitated. Anthony? Anthony, you there? Yeah, yeah, this is Anthony. Anthony, Colby here. I saw you tried to register for the event. It doesn't look like it went through. I do apologize for that. Can we go ahead and take care of that now?
Hmm.
And just immediately pattern interrupt though, right? They didn't actually try to sign up. So we change it. It's like kind of what you were saying of like doing something different than what they expected when you first called. So doing a pattern interrupt, as soon as I hear something that is more kind of what I call like a schmack in the face, you want to go a different direction. But by all means, sales trainers, everyone can have their opinions, but at the end of the day, I'm about building that they need to know, like, and trust me to do business. And so if I'm with a Susie, if I'm with a just sweet older lady or a man who picks up the phone and he's telling me he's just having his coffee and he's got some time to chat, I'm just going to be natural with him. I want him to feel like I'm just another guy on the other end of the phone. But the ones who come off more aggressive, some sort of pattern interrupt at the initial part of the call, usually would keep them on the line or at least give you an answer right off the rip of if it's going to make sense to keep the conversation going.
Explain what a pattern interrupt is.
So it's kind of like what you were saying of pretty much, most people do call with a very similar answer.
Right.
So it could be something along the lines of essentially stating, for instance, like let's say that I sent you an email as like a hand raiser. It's what we call in sales, like a hand raiser for you to tell me if you were interested. And I sent you in that email a PDF copy of a 5 slide deck about how to get more clients for your business or 5 tax strategies that's relevant to my business. 5 tax strategies to save through 2025. When I call you, rather than just calling and saying, "Hey, this is Colby from Checkmate Tax Advisory. How are you today?" I'll just call you and I might go ahead and bring up, "Hey, Colby here. I saw you uh, downloaded our form with the 5 tax strategies for 2025." But that person didn't actually download it. They
Mhm.
just got the email. So they never downloaded it. And so now they're thinking in their head, "I downloaded that? Did I do that?" So essentially, you're just trying to get them in their head to think about what you're saying more so than of just a, hey, how are you? The pattern interrupt is making them sit there and be like, wait, did I do that? Or gosh, when? And next thing you know, they're like, what was it? When did you send it to me?
Yeah.
uh, what email did it come from? And so now you're creating the familiarity with really what you were calling about. And then from there, it's typically just creating a conversation about what it was that then leads you to being able to either do your presentation, set a meeting, so on and so forth.
Interesting. So I had have you ever heard of Brother K on Instagram? The magician goes to Virginia Tech.
Mm-mm.
No, he's hilarious. And we just had him on the podcast last week, and we're talking about the psychology behind magic. And I'm like, okay, so you go up to a group of people, how do you go and build rapport with them? And he's like, the number one thing I do is I'm a chameleon. So like if I'm going up to a group of frat guys, I'm like, "Yo, what's up, boys? You guys want to get some magic?" And I'm getting all fired up. But then if he goes and approaches a girl alone or a grandpa on the bench, it's like, "Hey, do you want to see a magic trick?" And it's like matching and mirroring people's energy is one of the best ways to get them to like open up and feel connected because you know what that does. I love people. The people dynamics, people skills, and I'm taking a course on people skills right now. And the chemical that mirroring someone brings is oxycontin. And what oxycontin does is it makes you feel connected to that person and actually lowers the anxiety. So boom, right away, trust is built. And it's just like an excellent, it's such a good thing, no matter if you're in sales or whatever it is. Like if my friend gets home and he's pissed off from school and I'm fired up and I want to tell him something, he don't give a fuck. Like I should match his energy and get him to talk and open up, and that's how we're gonna be able to connect. And
Yep.
then once he rants, then I can put a smile on my face and go like that. So it's a very interesting thing that you brought up.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what it is. And, if you, with sales, you have to be careful of what you take in, because here's where the line has to be drawn is what it comes down to. And someone who's been in sales for 16 years taught me this lesson is, sometimes in business, things are going to go well, things are going to go bad. And as the sales guy, you're making promises. You are telling them what you are going to do for them, what this product or service is going to do for them. And sometimes things go wrong. That's just the reality. There was a disconnect. And so what really matters is your intentions, right? Like I'm not the chameleon because I want to swindle this person out of their money. I'm the chameleon so they're comfortable. So when I'm trying to figure out where they're going, they can share it with me. They can know it's a safe space. And we can really dive into, hey, is this going to help you get to where you want to go or not? Like that intention is super important. So I've been through sales trainings. Nothing I do is super fancy. I genuinely just believe in creating that connection and understanding if we can help. And to do that, there are some different things I do to try and give myself the opportunity to have that time. But
Yeah.
once I have it, man, I'm not a. I think Andy Elliott's fine, but I don't really buy into a lot of his stuff or any other real sales trainer that's kind of opted into maybe something that could be disheartening. I don't know how to exactly say it. Again, I'm not knocking anybody. It's just my advice to anyone in sales is just that. It's like your intentions are what matters. And people will give you feedback on that and work with you and buy your stuff if your intentions are in the right place and you find out if you can genuinely help them with what they need.
And there's another thing. I don't know if you've ever heard of Chase Hughes before. I can never pronounce his last name. Hughes. Chase Hughes. What he is he worked for the CIA. Like he was a director. He'd
Mm-hmm.
interview, interrogate. So you know that guy, stud,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd interrogate terrorists, all this types of stuff. But like what he does is he's a student of human nature. So he'll have clients that'll come to them and they're salespeople and they need sales training. And this is very fascinating to me because and maybe it's a tip for you, maybe not. But one thing he was talking about is he would sometimes tell salespeople, or maybe this was by accident. He was like listening to a call, or someone told him a story when they got on this sales call, they spilled their coffee right away. So they spilled it. And so the lady answers the phone, spilled the coffee, and the sales guy's like, oh shit, I could just spill my coffee. She could hear everything in the background, but then boom, immediately lowers defenses. And it just like it like puts you almost on a human level. And then she's asking, "Oh, like, are you okay? What's wrong with your coffee?" He's like, "Yeah, yada yada, having XYZ of a day," and then boom, you can get into it. This is just another way of really breaking the script and the mental blueprints that we as humans run on 24/7 on autopilot. Because when you can break that blueprint, not even only in a sales script, but just in a daily conversation. If you were to come on this podcast right now, I'm like, "Yo, Colby, what's up? Like, how's your day going?" It's just like, "Oh yeah, good. How about you?" But if I'd say like, "What has been the best thing that's happened to you all day?" Or "What are you looking forward to?" Or "Howdy, Colby," yada yada yada. It's just a little bit different, and it's gonna make you remember me and our conversation just a little bit more. And it's
Mhm.
so important to understand that types of stuff in the game of people, in the game of life. I find it so freaking fascinating.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think that too, just when we were talking about sales too, like a lot of what I do is outbound, but there's like a whole other side to sales that is the close, right? And so I do meet with a lot of people that get to me through the initial call of what we're talking about now, of how I get them to take more time with me in a 3 to 5 minute conversation. We have a more full conversation, deeper discovery. I'll do the presentation. I'll showcase the offer, and then I go for the close. And I think that a lot of what that comes down to, and this is my best advice, is genuine curiosity will take you very, very far in sales. When people are telling you about their life, it's constantly, oh, how did that come about? Or not why, but what made you feel that that would be the right decision at the time? And oh, Anthony, and it's can't believe that happened to you. I've had something similar like that happen to me, and I'm glad I overcame it. But for you, like, I mean, how did that make you feel? Like, what came following that event? And that curiosity creates the safe space in a closing setting, not where you're just trying to get them on the hook, but when you are trying to get them to be a part of what you're doing, or close the deal. Like, that genuine curiosity will take you so far. It's the first thing I learned in my first 60 days of sales from a sales coach that literally took me in 60 days from never being in sales to being $1 million closer. A lot of that came from that first 60 days. And that was his biggest point. No script. If you didn't have anything, if you simply got on a call and were genuinely curious about this person's situation, you'll make a deal.
Why not why? Why how?
Uh, it's a defense thing. I'll ask why sometimes, but if I say, Anthony, why did you start this podcast? It's immediately going to make you say defense. Like, I need to defend myself to Colby about why I started this podcast. But if I ask Anthony, what made you feel that the podcast was going to be the right thing for you to do? Now you're going to go to a passion standpoint where you're like, oh man, well, I felt that I needed more young people around me. They're doing the same thing I'm doing. I wanted to talk to more people that had insights that I knew would serve kids my age, or people my age, or entrepreneurs, whatever that purpose was. And so the why can sometimes be get defensive. The what can be a little bit more of like, what was it that made you feel that was the right decision?
Yeah.
Then it just lets you make your statement rather than having to go on the defense. That's something I've heard, something I've used. I mean, does it really make a huge difference? I don't know. It's something that I like, and I do like the word feel. It's a Jeremy Minor thing. I mean, it's about what is it making you feel? And so the what versus why, it's just something that I've started to do. But I think that's it. It's just keeping, like we've talked about, putting down the defense, putting down your kind of your smoke screen, so to say, of what you're really looking for. I just don't want you to feel like you ever have to explain yourself to me. I want you to share the passion with me, share what it is you're doing, not put this up with be like, no, Colby, you don't understand. So that's the what versus the why.
I mean, when you ask me that question, you say why, and I mean, it's just like the color red flashes in my head, and there's like a little bit of wall, and it's like, yeah, I kind of do have to defend myself. But the minute you say like, how did you phrase it? Like, what was the reasoning for doing this, or whatever you said, it's like, yeah, like it does tap into a little bit more of a passion, and then I can go and explain X, Y, and Z. And so that's an interesting point. But I also know with sales, like Your whole purpose is you're coming in and you're trying to extract information. You want to understand what's really ticking this person or the pain points or stuff like that. So, like, if I'm in conversation and we're talking, and you mention something and I tell a story, what, or I share some bit of information. I say, oh, yeah, like, I want to do this because my kids right now, they're struggling, and I really want to buy this course, whatever, so I could be a better parent. Okay, so that's what I drop. Do you have certain techniques? This is straight conversational stuff that when I share something like that, you say next. Couple things that come to mind is maybe I'll mirror the last two words and say, "Oh, your kids are doing what?" And it'll get me to keep going. Or I'll just make a vague statement. Or do you go and you try to share something personal about yourself? How do you go about moving conversation along and getting that information so you can actually serve and help the person that you're trying to sell to?
Mm. Yeah, there's times that I use the personal background, but the reality is like I've really tried to move towards like I try and just keep myself in the background. Something I'm actively working on now is like maybe early in the call, maybe after the close is done, but for the most part, like I don't want to talk about myself because at that point, the connection, it doesn't matter if there's a connection. They're in a spot right now where they're thinking about themselves, and I want to keep them there. So I try not to talk about myself. Like if you came to me and said, Colby, and people sometimes aren't very open, but let's just say they were, Colby, I want to, with the spot I've been in, I've never really been much of a creator of wealth. I've been more of a contributor, and I've never really done any investing. I have my 401k, and like, I'm 40 with two young kids, and the way that I'm looking at it after I mapped it out is like I'm not really going to have much to leave behind for them, and that's not the place I want to be in for my lifetime. Okay. Uh, Anthony, I appreciate you sharing that with me. I understand how that can be challenging for you. Like, is that showing up in other areas of your life? I mean, at home, is it taking you away mentally from time with your kids, time with your wife? Yeah. Well, this weight of just feeling like I haven't done enough is bearing over me where I just can't show up the way I really want to show up. Okay. And have you like tried in the past to fix this, or is this something that you're just not realizing is a big gap in your life? No,
Mm.
man, I've thought about it. I've never really tried. And today, like after seeing what you guys do, I just know that like if I'm going to do this, I have to make a decision to be a part of it. Okay, so it sounds like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, you're committed. If I asked, on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed you are right now to fixing this so-called financial IQ gap, how committed would you be? I'm a 10. I'm a 10. Now he's teed up, right? Like that's where from there I could go on, but it's like just coming back with the curiosity again about like tell me more about what this is doing. Your problem is not necessarily like I don't have the money. The problem is the way it's impacting how people show up in their life, in their relationships. Like that's what really hurts. Like sure, it stinks not to take a yacht out in Bora Bora, but I want to be able to come home and have good conversations with my wife. I want to be at my kids' baseball games. That's what people are really looking for. And I dig at it. Not again, my intentions are to help, but I have to dig at it because I know the truth. That's why I'm taking my mom to Costa Rica in July because I've done the things. So I have to get you to see it. Another piece of advice, I think you'll find this very valuable yourself, is here's why you have to have that question and not come back to yourself. Another thing that came from my original sales manager. If I say it, it's bullshit. If they say it, it's facts.
Okay.
So when they tee up that opportunity for you to say, uh, well, couldn't you imagine how if you started to work with me and implemented all these strategies that would actually give you the chance to, take care of your kids and leave that legacy behind? It's bullshit because you said it. You planted the seed, like Inception. You planted the seed in their brain that that's what would happen. But what if I said to you, after all the strategies that you saw, what changed about your financial future and what you want to see for yourself? And then they say, well, all these strategies, the tax-free IRA, the paying my kids, the Rob structure, it made me realize that if I changed into these different items, I would have the chance to probably in the next few years start, being more present with my family, being there for my kids. Now they're saying it. So it's facts. It's coming from them. I'm guiding them, but it's not me just verbatim throwing it at them. And I still work on that. I mean, I'm talking, look, I've gotten here from trying to do these things right, genuine connection and not being like some sleazeball. But that is like, if you can master that skill, it's huge. Like basically getting them to take them to the place and say what you want to just throw at them, getting them to say it and understand it and put it in their head because now it's their idea, not
Right.
yours.
Would you say that's your number one skill that's been able to make you a top 1% earner at the age of 22? Or what is that skill that you think you have that you may have learned from somebody else that just most salespeople don't have?
Okay, I will say it's communication skills, not even like closing. It's just creating a safe space. But to be 100% honest with you, man, I talk about all the time, even at the office, like I have my deficiencies. I'm not necessarily this killer sales guy that just is the best ever and can close anyone that can sell you the pin. You know, I work really hard. Sales is a hard space, man. You have to get a lot of no's. You have to go from record low weeks to record high weeks. You have to go from, spending hours with a client and then bailing to 10 minutes later, taking your first ever call and showing up as your highest best self. For me, it's just a work thing. If you just show up and you do the hard work and you make the dials and you do the follow up and you do the study and the training, like that's all that people are missing. I mean, I hate saying it because it's what everyone says, but the biggest edge you can give yourself is just being the hardest worker in the room.
Hardest worker. And how much do you think charisma plays into that, though? Like, can someone who would say they're not a charismatic person, can they just call 300 times a day and match the level of someone who's doing half the input but very charismatic?
Yeah, because people are people, man. I mean, there's like one of the best closers I've ever seen. He took his sales calls like this, baseball cap on. Hey, Anthony, where are you calling in from today?
Wow.
Oh, nice. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm in Hawaii. But that's cool. I'm a couple hours behind you. Well, hey, so we've got an hour on the calendar. Do you have a hard stop? Like, can we stay on that long? I mean, dude, he's literally just he's not like me. That I guess so say that like becomes like a mirroring thing. Like sometimes maybe I'm more low key and I try to be. But of course, like your style is your style. I have a style, right? I mean, I know a lot about a lot. I don't try and flash my expertise, but I do try and make hints and drops here that I'm credible. Everything I'm selling to you, I'm already doing and having success with it. So you can take my word for it. But yeah, man, I mean, you just be surprised. Like you got to think, I mean, who you're calling all the time, you don't know who they are. So I think anyone, regardless of who you are, can find success if you have that work level. I think that it's hard to measure, right? At the end of the day, of like, well, how many people do I talk to every day that maybe I resonate more with that are like, sweet Sally or whatever I called her, that are just all maybe Southern and they're having their coffee and they're so just blessed and just like me, where I'm just all excited for my life, versus maybe people that are just more even keel, more down to earth. And so I don't think I would never put a label on anybody in sales space and business. I've known and met enough people to know that there's only one thing that you really need to do, and that's try hard. Don't give up. Like everybody does it different. There is no right or wrong way. Despite everyone selling it, they have the greatest discovery in real estate, the greatest discovery in sales, the greatest discovery in business. It's like, no, you don't. It's very simple. Truth be told, the ones that are unique succeed at the highest level. So I just don't opt into all that. I would say that if you have those key pieces, if you work hard, you try hard, you show up, you have everything it takes to be successful. Your unique way of doing it makes it yours, and that will make you special.
Yeah. And I think something with sales, like a lot of jobs right now, especially these high ticket ones, it's all remote. And so you're sitting in your room and you're making these calls. And I believe I saw a clip from you kind of talking about this. And I think you worked a remote job in the past, but Gen Z right now, I think it's 74% of Gen Z individuals like prefer a hybrid option. So they want to be able to work from home. But I'm pretty sure you're a guy that's I'm going to the office. I want to get around other people. How have you seen like the remote work affect being in person? Do you think we should all go and strive to be in the office?
I'm yes. I mean, absolutely. Like, think about, so I was, when we had our first company, so from like 18 to, or 19 to 21, it was me and one other guy, and I lived at this house by myself and was building this company, living alone. And it was wake up, go to the gym 6, 7 a.m., and I'd come back and I wouldn't see anybody for the rest of the day. Like, I was just locked in on the business. And it's not healthy. When it's really not healthy is when your mental is bad and you're questioning yourself, what you're doing, your mission. You're getting kicked in the dick all day just with bad shit getting thrown at you. And now guess what? You get to sit in front of your freaking laptop all by yourself for 12 hours before you go to bed. In what world, talking about mental health therapy, all this shit, in what way, after that 12 hours getting kicked in the dick and questioning your whole existence, you go and scroll on TikTok for 3 hours? Is that going to make you feel better? Um, what's unbeatable for me now, like, number one, I'm super blessed that we have like a sick sales team. Me and my guys, like, we're all boys. We do dinners together. We talk about our newest businesses. We're all very, very focused. We're in there 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., sometimes later. It's like a little family we got. But outside of that, there's company president, there's president of logistics, there's investor relations manager, there's our CEO, there's Andrew, who is just considered, I guess, like co-founder. I don't even know if he has like a title. But all of those guys, I walk in the office with, this whole like moping energy, or, maybe shit hasn't gone my way that week. And then Nick, our company president, comes walking by. And my thing in the office is everyone's like, how are you? I'm dialed. That's why I say every time. And so Nick, I could be coming in and I'm not dialed. And Nick will be like, what's up, Cold? I'm like, hey, what's up? And he's like, what's up? You dialed? And then I'm like, fuck yes, I'm dialed. And it changes, even sometimes I sit in the morning meeting with the guys, and I'm like, man, I'm just fucking getting beat right now. It's just not going good. And they lift you up, bro. It's community. It's good people around you. If you don't get that at your office and you don't like being in the office, you might work with some shitty people. I can't say that. So absolutely, I'm 10 toes down on the office thing. If you wanted one day a week, if you got kids at home, a baby, of course, bro. Yeah, it can make sense. But if you're talking about high output, high energy, and good for you overall as a professional, there is nothing parallel to being in the office. That's where business gets done. That's where real shit happens. You should be in the office if you're not just trying to be a tire kicker and be a boss. Like, you should be around all these individuals that have been there, done that, and are willing to lift you up when you have a bad day.
I think a lot of it also stems from like that, and you mentioned it, it's like isolation. At the beginning, well, because part of the reason is like I listen to Alex Hormozy sometimes, and what does Alex Hormozy say? He's like, "Yo, like you're 20 years old, screw having friends, screw going out. All you need to do is sit in your room all day and work." And like as a naive 18, 19, 20-year old, like that's sometimes what I would do, and especially at the start of this year, like I'm like I don't want to go out at all. I don't want to see people. I am just locking in and working. And it was fantastic at the start. And I got so much done. I felt so good about myself. But at some point, it's like that life source of people is sucked out of you. And you just are in isolation. And when you're in isolation, I don't care who you are, bro. Like at some point, you're just going to burn out. And I'm very, very pro go to the office. Like my internship this past summer, I was working at a company, and we had a policy. It was 3 days in and 2 days from home. And I would start doing this at the start and be like, oh, sick. So my Friday and Monday, I can chill from home. Right, it was miserable. Like I could not do any work. I was just like, I can't do anything. And my project got delayed and delayed until I finally said, fuck it. I need to go in the office. Then I was ripping 5 days a week and just being around
Yeah.
people. you're so much more productive. So I agree with that 100%.
Yeah.
On the next topic, so I know a lot of people, especially me, it's like networking comes to mind. It's like we're always worrying about networking, and you've sat in rooms with people with millionaires, potentially billionaires. So you've sat in there and you've able to chat with them and observe the way that they network and communicate with other people. But one of the biggest things that I think a lot of people struggle with is like, maybe I want to network because I actually want to form a genuine connection. And I don't want to make this seem so transactional. Like I just want to talk to you for something. Do you have advice out there for the kid that's sitting there right now and is like, man, I really want to reach out to this person, but I don't want to make this just transactional? How would you
Mhm.
approach
Yeah. So I'm about to be a little contrarian to kind of what I said earlier when we talked about the whole like chameleon thing, right? First off, if you want to build the connection, be patient with it. I get it. If someone's right in front of you, I'll explain how I would handle that. But something I was taught at an early age, I paid a guy like $10,000 for a course when I was 18 years old. It was like my first big investment. I didn't learn much really, but one big piece was like nurturing of relationships, and it was like commenting on their Instagram, commenting on their stories, sending them love, supporting, resharing their stuff, blah, 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 blah. Like just all this kind of minute background stuff that over time they're like, they start seeing your name in their phone all the time. And they're like, oh, it's Colby again. Like, who is this guy? Always showing love. And then you kind of come in with the how do we find synergy? How do we find a connection here to build that relationship? Secondarily, when you're in person with somebody, always asking about them. What are they doing? For instance, like when we got Dr. Soleimani on the podcast, who has a $10 million collection, right? SVJ, Pagani Huayra, Bugatti Chiron Pure Sport, GT3 RS, all of the best of the best, right? And great, genuine guy. But he had a Jaguars plate on his Pagani, and I met him at a car show. And I came up and I just introduced myself. I said, "Hi, Doc. I see it's a Jags plate. Are you from Jacksonville?" Yes, I had already Googled him. I knew he's from Jacksonville. I knew he had a private practice medical business. I knew he was Man of the Year of Jacksonville in 2020. And I said, what does he do? I run private practice medical offices. Okay, very cool. We continue the conversation. Before you know it, then it comes back to me. Well, what about yourself?
that?
And I say, I'm an entrepreneur, but my main focus right now is helping people, young people, build more grit. So we run a summer sports camp. I do some public speaking, building it from like a social media aspect. So started a podcast as well, interviewing top achievers in athletics and business. Oh, that's really cool, man. We appreciate you doing that in the city of Jacksonville. Yeah, thank you. Of course, I'm glad to do it. It could be a good fit for you if you feel like you would have an hour to get on the show.
Mm.
Done. Deal closed. It wasn't me coming up all abrasive. Hey, this car is so sweet, man. I can't believe how successful you are. I want to be just like you one day. Can I please have an hour of your time where you can come on my podcast? Please. No. You want to have a level of maturity to it, right? And so that's where I wanted to say, like, that's how I've done it. But a piece about like the chameleon thing, blending with people, dude, I've gotten to spend time around people now where you know what people really fucking want? They
What?
want you to be unapologetically you. Like they don't care if you like football, they don't care if you like surfing, they don't care if you drive a Highlander or a Bugatti, they don't care if you're in network marketing or real estate or if you're in private equity. They don't care how many followers you have. The truth is, bros, the people that you want to be around will not give a shit about any of that stuff. You know what they will care about is if you walk with your chest high, proud of what you do, have good relationships, you have a purpose. Those are the things that resonate with what I call heavy hitters, so to say. They don't have to have those synergies and then in pieces that come together between the two of you. They want to see that you're a true man. Like you believe in what you believe in. You're 10 toes down on what you're about. You're passionate. You're serving other people. You're taking care of your family. Those are the things that these guys look for, not if you're in the same business or if you like the same NFL team. Like that's not the people that I hang around. And if somebody has that and you interact with that, our odds are that like that's not someone that you genuinely should be building a relationship with. So that's my last piece. Is like at the heavy hitters, those guys aren't looking for what immediately comes to mind of all these synergies. It's more about principles and values for them, not what you're doing, so to say, in your day to day.
So essentially, not be a people pleaser.
100%. These guys hate yes men. Like I've been the yes man at our office before to still like be growing, and I've become a bit more like standing 10 toes down. Like I said, like there's a time that you have to be a boss. Like you got to tell people how it is. You got to speak your mind. You got to, deliver this shit for real. Because if you're not, you're just wasting everyone's time. So like when I say like man or woman, doesn't really matter. But like when I say like be a real man, it's like you stand on what you believe in. You have conviction behind it, and you're doing a lot of what I call the right things, right? Again, mission bigger than yourself. You care about your family. You are genuine to the business owner just as much as the valet. Like these are the things that these people look out for.
Mm, respect. I had a, and it brings me up because like I was a yes man too at one point, and like I tried to please everyone, but it was one time that I had this one friend, and dude, like I remember this so vividly. It'd be like we'd be talking to, we'd have a conversation, and I would bring up something, and he'd just agree with everything that I'd say, and I could tell there was no depth to it. And I was like, really? And then I'd watch him go and interact with other people. It's like completely opposite of what we talked about. Or we're trying to agree on someone and say, yeah, like fuck this person, or maybe we're talking bad or whatever. And he goes to this next person that we're talking about, and he's so friendly and nice, and he's saying all this stuff, and it's just like, dude, I can't stand that, because if you're doing that with me, well, guess what? You're gonna go and talk behind my back with the other person, and that's just kind of how it goes. And I think one thing that really helped me change a lot about kind of my character and persona was developing values. Exactly what you just said. And it makes sense. All the heavy hitters, values based men, just like it's just the way the world works. And it makes sense. And on the other side of that, you've interviewed so many of these incredible people. If what's the best piece of advice that you've taken away from one of them? If you just had one thing.
This one's always stuck with me. And I talk about Saman a lot because I still keep up with him. We're not like friends. I mean, I have his number in my phone. I would consider him a friend, but it's not like we like hang out and stuff. But, I got to sit with him on that podcast at a very I call it sensitive time in my life where like I was taking in a lot of information, right? I was trying to learn, and I could have taken a lot from a lot of different people. But when I did that episode with Saman, just so we're on the same page, I mean, he's got 14 private practice medical offices, the crazy, probably could be more than $10 million collection. I don't even know these days. And he's a good, genuine dude. He was man of Jacksonville in 2020 because he refused to shut down his offices during COVID. He said, "We are doctors. What is everybody doing? We're doctors. This is our job. People will die. We will stand on the front lines." That's the type of man this guy is. So I honor him, right? And that's why I speak so highly of him. But in our podcast, I asked him, how do you get through medical school? Like, I couldn't even get through one semester of online college before I dropped out. I was learning about freaking rocks. It was super dumb. I was trying to build a business, not learn about rocks.
Yeah.
And, his response was, through the whole process, I looked forward to people that were a few years ahead of me or 5 years ahead of me. And not arrogantly, but I looked at them and said, I know if you can do it, I can definitely do it. Not because I'm smarter, but because I work harder. My values, my principles, my virtues, I know are stronger. I know that they're there for me. And if you did it, then I know for a fact I can do it.
Mm.
And that really, really stuck because that again comes back to, yes, the principles, values, and virtues that you truly believe in, having those outlined for yourself, and knowing that the belief that if anyone else can do it, why not me? And that's coming from a man who immigrated here from Iran, came with nothing, graduated high school at 15, got out of college, went through all of medical school, which I think we both know residency, all of that process is literally eating shit for 12 years, became a national speaker for Pfizer and all these big companies, launched his private practice. And yeah, now he's kind of on this pedestal, but he came here with nothing. Like I don't talk about, like, I wish more people had that opportunity or could listen to that podcast when they talk about the state of the union, so to say, in America.
Yeah.
That gentleman, if you ask him about what we have to offer, and I don't want to call it soft because, like, as you can tell, like, I have a piece of me that I try and be like soft and understanding, but I definitely have a backbone behind me where it's like, because I know someone like Saman who came here with nothing, I'll give you the help that you're looking for to progress, but I will not like take your shit for it. Uh, from an immigrant with nothing to buying a one of 60, I'm pretty sure it is, one off Bugatti Chiron Pure Sport. Like
Yeah.
basically the ultimate measurement of success with two kids that he loves, a good relationship with his wife. Like, man, you just have so much opportunity out there. And that stuck with me from someone in his shoes, not my shoes, not my shoes where I'm blessed. Uh, but someone in his shoes saying that if anyone else was out there and could do it, I can do it as well.
What about public speaking? Because I know that you've gone and you've spoken at a lot of places, especially for kids. But public speaking is something that I was terrified at. I was terrified about, and I sucked at it. Like there were so many embarrassing moments where I literally just want to crawl in my bed and never show face again because I just made a freaking fool of myself. And I'm posing the question like, were you always the guy, Colby, that could get in front of a crowd and speak? Or is that something that you learned over time? Was there a moment that you just screwed up so bad and you're like, I need to get better at it? And if so, how did you get better at it?
Well, no, it started again from a perspective of wanting to be in control of my future, right? Like I was a student body president when I was in high school, which meant I planned a lot of the events. I had a lot of older friends. There was a lot of people around me as in high school talking about how, oh, the senior year is gonna suck because like it's just gonna suck. All these events are always so boring and blah 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 blah. And I said, well, fuck that. I'll go be the boss and I'll build these events and I'll make it the shit. Like, I'm going to make this a great year. I said, rather than being like all of you freaking dorks pointing fingers and complaining, like, I'll go and do the thing. I'll just go make it happen. And so when I did that, I had to do a lot of public speaking, running pep rallies, running events. I emceed our womanless beauty pageant. It was all men in dresses, and it was for a fundraiser. And I was like on the mic the whole time. And truth is, man, I would say it never really goes away of like the butterflies before you speak. And I've always been told it's because you care. Like I had a bit of butterflies before I got on the podcast today, just because it's because I care. It's not because I don't understand my life or what I'm talking about. If anything, I'm the number one expert for it. But you still get it. And so that's the piece that you really have to overcome. And my girlfriend just had to do a presentation, and I told her, I said, there's only two pieces. It's know your shit that you're talking about. You have to be the expert. If you walk up there not knowing, you're not going to be nervous because you care. You're going to be nervous because you don't know what you're doing. So you have to check that box. Know what you're talking about. Know what the purpose is, the delivery, study it, memorize it, work on it. Do the work to prepare. Because then if you understand it, the second step is just knowing that you're meant to be a little nervous. You're meant to have some sweaty palms, some shaking in maybe the first few seconds. A sense of nervousness is good. It means you care. As long as you've done part one, which is understanding the purpose of what you're doing, understanding the material, the information. As long as that box is checked, then you just have to mentally be resilient to get through it. And it does help with reps. I'm willing to say it. Yeah, like the more you do it, it gets less and less nervousness, but you have to be able to know that you care. That's why it's just comes out of you at the beginning.
Preparation, purpose, reps. Agree, agree, agree. I also saw a video of you. I think you're speaking to a group of kids and you brought out a balloon. And so you're blowing it up and you're using that as a tool for engagement. So like the person that's sitting here and maybe they're like, yeah, I'm the man. I can get up there and I can do it. But I really want to deliver a good speech. So number one, you have props to do engagement. How much do you utilize like metaphors, analogies, maybe rising and tonality and stuff like that? Is there something that comes to mind right away that you're like, bam, this made me the freaking best public speaker ever. I can engage the audience every single time I do this. This is a non-negotiable in every single speech.
Hmm. Hmm. Mm. I always envisioned who I needed to resonate with, and that dictates everything. Because there's no need to be, if I was speaking on the current state of the real estate market to a bunch of investors, there's no need for me to be up there all, and then the market's going to go, and it's going to go, and it's going to go, and bam, 2008's going to hit. And not only are you going to lose your business, but you're going to lose your family, your private school, your car, right? Like I could, but maybe not entirely necessary. And same with the kids, right? Like the whole balloon thing. I came up with that. I was actually really proud of that whole idea. So I'm glad you saw that because it was a perfect representation. Um, it's bro, it's kindergarteners to sixth grade. Like, of course, I needed something to keep them engaged, especially something that was kind of like an illusion, right? And when I popped the balloon, everyone was like, ah, like screamed. And then so I really had them. So you have to know who you're speaking to and who it's supposed to resonate with. And then from there, of course, it depends how you implement the tonality and the highs, the lows, the question asking, maybe some sort of affirmation through it. Like if you're out there, if you're someone out there and you're just waiting to get to the next step in your life, raise your hand, please, or say I, like that whole thing. So all of those pieces come into play, but without starting with a clean slate that says, who am I trying to resonate with? You really can't even get into the whole back half. You just have to know who you're speaking to.
Sir, your ideal avatar, like really trying to understand that person.
Yeah, or even if you're like where I've been in many rooms, like you have to know who's in the room. Like you could think who's the specific person I want to reach, but odds are, yeah, no, you say it really well. I would agree, right? Like you should think who's the ideal avatar, and I think you should take into consideration the room as a whole. Because it's like if you build a box, many people will tune out. Like the kid who, if you were speaking in high school, the kid who is in a spot right now mentally where he doesn't know where his life is going, his parents are divorced, they're low on money, his life is struggling, and I step on stage and start diving into those items and like really resonating with him, okay, that kid's going to get what he's looking for.
Mm.
But maybe all the kids whose dads are lawyers and doctors and all this other stuff that are going to need what I'm saying in the future, because life is bound to happen to them too, bad things are bound to happen, are going to immediately tune out. Right. So the room as a whole is one piece. And then I would agree with you when you think about like at the end of the day, prioritize necessarily my message and who is going to be in this room that really needs it most. I think that's fair to say. So I think that was a good addition as well. The ideal avatar plus how can I get the room as a whole the best chance to resonate with what I have to say.
Well said. All right. Well, this conversation flew by. We're already at the end, and so it was a lot of fun. But leaving everybody off with one last message, is there anything else that you want to leave people with, Colby?
It's like what we talked about yesterday. You just never give up. I mean, it's so traditional. It's so well, rounded that people use it and throw it around. But you never give up ever. And the other thing is to appreciate just what you have. Like I've worked so hard to do my best. And of course, I'm imperfect. I would love to just share that. I have days that I don't want to do the work, that I miss calls, or that I ignore calls. I just say, screw it. I still go out and have a good time. I still do all these things. I'm not really perfect necessarily. So if everyone can resonate with that, but know that like the gratitude side, right? If you have those pieces, it makes it so much easier not to give up. Like you have to go to that place where um, I'm grateful for what I have. I'm grateful for the people around me. I'm faithful with the money I have and the resources I have. So when you are stripped of a good opportunity, a good deal, a good job, whatever it might be for you, you can go back to that place of gratitude, and giving up isn't an option. Like, bro, I never think about like giving up ever. Like it's not in me anymore. Like I have committed to what I'm pursuing. It's not like that's not in my DNA anymore. And I know that it is for a lot of people, but it's
Yeah.
based in that gratitude and that just knowing that it's like it's there for the taking, right? Whatever it is that you're after, despite all those things that happen, if you're based in your values, your principles, and you have that attitude of gratitude, you won't want to give up. All of it just becomes noise that all these people talk about, that I've kind of talked about today. People who are maybe in the mindset and the position I'm in would listen to this and they'd say, oh, well, there's some good nuggets in there, but I'm like Colby, now I've got all these pieces put together and so on and so forth. So I hope that that's what everyone can take away from this today is like, it's possible for you. You can be in the same position. You can take all these opportunities. You can go and be 10 times more successful than me, depending on what that looks like for you. It's all out there for you. If you never give up, stay based in your principles, values, and have that attitude of gratitude. Like I said, I just wish that for everybody.
Well said. And on the topic of never giving up, one quote that has completely changed my life when I started this journey of content with 8 months of posting, 200 views, people talking shit behind my back. It was the worst feeling in the entire world. Every single day, what I would tell myself when I didn't want to post, when I just wanted to quit, it is impossible to fail if you never truly give up. Every single day. And it's going to stick with me for the rest of my life. So, Colby, thank you so much for coming on Gross Potential. It was an absolute pleasure. I don't say this about many other people, but you do seem like a killer in a good way. You've got your shit together, very well put together, dropped a ton of knowledge. So I'm sure everybody in the Gross Potential audience wants to deliver a thank you to you. Appreciate it, brother.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I'm so glad everyone could join. Quick quote on my side, too. If you ever really want to think about, I'm spiritual, and it's Isaiah 66:9. I will not cause pain without allowing something new to be born. Comes back to that for me every day. Why would you give up if something new, better, and more incredible is coming your way on the back end? So hopefully everyone's taking something away from this. And I could see us doing some more in the future. So I would definitely tell everyone to stay tuned. Thanks, and keep up with me, Colby Harris, on Instagram. I'm here to help in any possible way I can. So thanks again, Anthony, for having me on.
Amazing. All right. Take care, everybody. Bye bye. Bye bye.